Hi. Two questions were posed at the end of my first book, This Isn't Normal. One question was from readers. They asked, who does Carla Hunsaker marry eventually? And they wanted me to write another book saying what happens to these people, particularly Carla. And the other question was posed by Carla herself in her journal toward the end of the story. She's talking about the culture and the expectations that she and her contemporaries faced, girls specifically. And she wrote, where is all this going? What are Alexis and Carla Marie going to hear when they are teens? What will my kids hear? I would be afraid to have kids if I didn't know there is another way. Call me old-fashioned if you want to. Well, I wrote Peace Man after that, and that answered neither question. Because Peace Man was centered around a male protagonist, and Carla is a supporting character. But the questions posed in this book about Carla Marie and Alexis are answered in my third novel, For the Children, as well as the question of readers is, who does Carla marry? Carla Marie and Alexis are two children born to one of Carla's high school friends. Her friend Jen gave birth to two babies before she finished high school, had to repeat a year of high school because she was out on maternity as much as she was. And her home family situation was unstable at the time her second baby girl was born, and so she named the baby girl Carla Marie after Carla Marie Hunsaker, and told her it's because she knew that Carla would be there for her at the time that the baby was born. So, it took a long time to write For the Children. This picture is Carla Marie. Her last name is Edgars. And it took a long time to write this book because I decided that I had written two time travel stories that went into the past. As I've said in other videos that I've made about the other two books, it was kind of a Back to the Future thing. And by the way, there's a lot of humor in there. I wrote as much funny stuff into the books as I could. When I wrote This Isn't Normal, it was my first attempt, and I threw everything in but the kitchen sink. Well, wait a minute. No, there is a kitchen sink and This Isn't Normal. So I threw everything I knew in there. Every comic angle I could put into it, I did. And I had a lot of fun in Peace Man. When Jason finds himself in the year 1972, his car radio is playing music. And he's not used to that because he has it tuned to a talk station. And he double checks, he looks at the dial and sees that it's tuned to a talk station, but one of the first songs he hears is a 1972 hit called Troglodyte, and the first words of the song are spoken, and he says, what we're going to do now is go back, way back, back into time. And one of the things I advise people who read any of my novels is that if you don't know the songs I'm referring to, because I refer to songs a lot, you can find them on YouTube and listen to them, and I think it will enhance your understanding of the story. I mean, you don't have to, but if you're curious, you can do it, and I recommend it. But getting back to my third book, For the Children, Carla Marie and Alexis turn up in the story. Carla Marie obviously is a major character. Alexis turns up from time to time, so you get some idea how Alexis turned out. And you do find out who Carla Hunsaker marries. And if you've read Peace Man, you find out who Jason Brown marries. And this book was a challenge to write because, first of all, I decided, since I'd written time travel novels going to the past, that I would write a novel about the future. And rather than having the characters travel through time, the characters take the reader forward in time. And that is always a gamble, of course. There were several factors I had to consider. The technologies. Would there be autonomous cars in this story? There's been a lot of talk of them. Nissan promised to have an autonomous car out by the year 2020, but there have been some setbacks. one manufacturer, I don't think it was Nissan, it might have been Tesla, had a test driver killed in an autonomous car. So Motor Trend thinks that autonomous cars aren't going to dominate the roads for a long, long time. So as time progressed, from 2013, when I first started working on this book, to 2018, when I finished it, it looked like autonomous cars are around the corner. So there is a reference to autonomous cars, but they're not common. And so the writers of Motor Trend would probably approve of that. And there are also internet advances and cell phone advances that I project. And because it took this long to write the book, it's probably better for the wait, because I have a clearer idea of what would be going on in the 2020s technologically. Now socially, I tried to project where trends would go in the 2020s, and I was surprised to find out that some of the events that I thought would take, that I projected, I should say, I wasn't sure they would take place, I'm not a prophet in that way, took place before I finished writing the book. One serious social complication that I wrote in the year 2023 took place in 2016. And I also projected that there would be automated hamburger kiosks. And I just figured technology might take us to that point, and it was kind of a joke too. I had a little fun with it. I had a hamburger kiosk that had no personnel in it, and it was called Row Burgers. And that was before McDonald's and Wendy's started talking about automated hamburger dispensers after the minimum wage in California went up to $15 an hour. I didn't have economics as a part of the picture, I just had technology, but it was interesting how that fit. So the book seems more relevant now because some of the things that I thought would happen in the future have happened already. But long story short, in For the Children, you learn about Carla's children. She does have children. So does Jason. And another complicating thing was tying their stories together. They lived their own lives after Peaceman. And but Jason gets kind of a high profile. He's become kind of a cultural warrior. He gets on media and he draws some attention, and Carla sees him on her TV screen. And then as the drama unfolds, as Jason tries to run for mayor, Carla hears about it, and through her connections with a service that is designed to locate runaways and abused children, she gets in touch with Jason and they team up again. And so it's a fun read. The main story goes from 2023 to 2028. The story begins where the first two books left off. So those who have read the first two books will get continuity. And I like to think that for a futuristic novel, it's very entertaining. I had some fun with future technologies, but Carla, being that the 1960s retro girl that she is, still some old songs come up. One of them was from one of the same songs mentioned in the first book. So For the Children can be read by itself. I wrote it so that it can be read by itself, and you don't have to read the first two books to understand the third book. However, I think you'll have a lot more fun if you read This Isn't Normal first, Peaceman second, and For the Children. But the choice is yours. You can read For the Children first and decide if you like it, and then get the other books later if you want to. Likewise, you can start out with the first one and decide if you're interested in the second and third ones. So this completes what I call the Glitch in Time trilogy. And I hope you like it. I hope you read it. And I want to thank you for watching this video, and I will thank you in advance for reading the book if you haven't already. Thanks for everything.